Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the top 5 ways to get kicked out of basic military training. My name is Michael Inman, and I'm an airman in the United States Air Force. I post a video every Monday after a break or two, and I usually discuss military content and/or Air Force content. So if you like that type of content, definitely hit the subscribe button and make sure you turn the notification bell to on so you know when I upload a brand new video. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's uncover the elephant in the room. I don't think most of you guys should be trying to get kicked out of basic military training. But of course I ask myself, if someone did, let's say, have a code red and they wanted to get themselves kicked out, what are the top ways to do that? So after thinking about the question, I took it upon myself to make a list of 5 things. So these are the top 5 ways to get yourself kicked out of basic military training, and I really hope you don't resort to any of them. The first one, drugs. Now, of course, you aren't going to be able to just readily find drugs around basic military training. But let's say you were about a week out from going to basic military training and you just had no idea of how to say, "Hi, recruiter, I'm actually not gonna go," which you're allowed to do. One way that you could, or I don't want to say you could get kicked out because I do not condone drugs, but one way that you would quickly find yourself kicked out is if in the first week or so, if they happen to do a drug test and you pop positive, you will be dragged out of basic military training like a dirty carpet. So that's your first option. Again, I don't condone it, but this video is about giving you options. Drugs will get you kicked out pretty quickly. Not only are you screened for drugs prior to shipping out, but there's a second test which I will talk more about in the future, pretty early on in your basic military training experience, in which they're going to do a just in case you partied right before coming to basic military training check or test. Those are all hyphens. So again, if you didn't catch it, just in case you partied before coming to basic military training test. So that is the first way to get kicked out pretty quickly. And last but not least, and to repeat, I don't condone it, but it's a way to do it. Now for the next one. The second way that you can pretty quickly get yourself kicked out of basic military training and sent all the way back home is if you break not a few, not a medium amount, but quite a few, maybe an exorbitant amount of rules. Now I'm saying this is hit or miss, this strategy, because it may work, because if you really just go gung-ho about it and you just break every rule left and right, and it's maybe early enough, you might get to go home pretty quick. But the other way it could go is you just get to sit in some kind of room indefinitely until they process you out 4 months later, and then you get to go home. So really, I'm not sure if this is the best strategy, but again, I'm giving you options. That's my goal here, guys. I want you to know how you possibly can get out of basic military training if you so choose. So yes, the second strategy is to break all the rules. Every single one. Do what you want. Do what you don't want. Just do all the things that you should not do. It should get you home pretty quick, or after 4 months. I don't know. That's your risk. Now, after we've talked about breaking the rules and hypothetically getting to go home and or having to be processed out and waiting a few months to be able to go home, what is the third option? Let me tell you that. The next way to get out of basic military training, but not really, would be med-hold or medical holdover. And so that pretty much means you are medically unable to continue through all of the different forms of training and exercise that take place at basic military training. Now, let's say you are like, wow, I don't want to be here anymore, and anything's better than going through basic military training. You could either, happen to get hurt, which is really a terrible plan and really messed up, or you could go back to 3rd grade and do the and I guess play sick. I don't know. Again, that's unethical, but it's your life. Okay? So a way to get out of BMT would be going to med-hold, but the problem with this plan is, again, you're going to have to stay in med hold until you're healthy. Do you see what we're dealing with? And if your actual plan is to be in med hold until you get disqualified medically from the military, oh, you might as well be there for 6 to 8 months. I don't know how quick they can do that. You better get comfortable, okay? Very comfortable. But if I'm being honest, this is one of the worst ways to try to get out of BMT because you ain't gonna be leaving whatever base you're at. But it's an option. Good luck. Now for our fourth one. The fourth way to get kicked out of basic military training is to fail your PT test twice. So how that works is you have 2 mock PT tests throughout BMT, and then you'll have your final PT test pretty much leading up to the week of graduation, like very close. Now, if you fail your final PT test, you actually get to retest in a week's time. And so if you fail both the final PT test and the secondary or makeup PT test because you failed the first one, I'm not positive. I was not in that particular situation, but I've heard rumors that either that test and or maybe a third one, it can lead to you being separated because after weeks of training and after weeks of PT, you still are not able to meet the standard for, PT requirements in the Air Force. And sometimes the Air Force decides maybe we are not a great match for each other. It's something that can happen. And again, that way out of BMT is really just a way to try to get out of military service, I would presume, because you've already made it through BMT. You just didn't quite make it to, the PT base level requirement. And so I guess it's an option. It will get you out of your contract, I presume. Again, it wasn't my route of choice. I don't do these things. But it's something to consider. And now I think we have made it to the finale, right? What is the fifth and final way that someone could hypothetically try to sabotage their own BMT experience? So in that same vein, if you fail the end of course exam twice, I believe, of course you do get a secondary try if you fail the first time. No pressure, no worries. But if you fail the end of course test again after they've already extended, the second opportunity to meet the minimum standard, maybe they'll either separate you or recycle you back like multiple weeks. So this will either help you leave BMT or extend your time in BMT. I can't say what will happen. I didn't do these, but it's something to consider. Failing the end of course academic test, which is of course testing you on everything you learned during your time at BMT, is another opportunity to, get yourself booted out the door. And those make up the top 5 ways to bring your BMT experience to a not so ideal, but very quick ending. Or not so quick. However, the thing that you might have noticed, most of these things will not allow you to leave BMT as quick as you would want. Sadly, at the end of the day, all of these different situations are going to have 2 things happen. One, there's going to be an immense amount of paperwork and processing that happens because of these issues. Plus, there are consequences that are going to follow you because of these situations. There will be ramifications if you pop positive on a drug test. Additionally, breaking rules. Do you really want to be, military prison? I don't know how far you are going to cross that line. Again, the consequences will be severe, I presume. And also, not only are there consequences and paperwork and processing to process you out, but at the end of the day, if you can't tell from the 5 different strategies we've discussed, it most likely will take longer for you to be removed from BMT than it would be to just graduate. So as they say, usually when you are getting to BMT and throughout BMT, the quickest way out of BMT is to graduate BMT. So the real takeaway from this video is, no matter how much you want to leave BMT, I truly encourage you to kind of imagine getting through the finish line. Imagine walking across the graduation ceremony and knowing that you did it and you didn't give up on yourself. Because not only will you be proud that you made it through something that you never thought you could, or never even wanted to, I don't know, but also you should know that you got out quicker than you ever would have or could have if you had tried to get out in some other means other than graduating. And I hope that you are more excited to go to BMT rather than excited to ditch BMT. Have a great rest of your week. Again, if you want to see more of my face, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Michael A. Inman _. So have a great rest of your week. Hopefully 2021 is better than 2020, but if you guys are tracking, it may not be. So here we go. Here's to a great year. Oh, and one more thing. If you like this video and other videos, make sure you subscribe, comment, and like. Deuces.